convenience, so many life hacks, self-discipline feels harder than ever? Well, today we're going to dig into that. We're unlocking the core ideas from Martin Meadows' 365 Days with Self-Discipline to figure out why we struggle and, more importantly, what we can actually do about it. Life's easy when you live it the hard way. I mean, it sounds like a complete contradiction, right? But what if it's the absolute truth? The idea here is really simple. Every time you choose the tougher path now, hitting the gym instead of sinking into the couch, you're basically banking strength for the future. You're preparing for the real curveballs life is going to throw your way. So why is it such a battle? To really get it, we need to go way, way back and meet our prehistoric ancestor, a guy we'll call Uzuk. Okay, so picture Uzuk's life. It was a masterclass in discipline, but not because he was trying to be productive. It was a flat-out necessity. For him, discomfort wasn't something to avoid. It was just reality. It was survival. And here's the paradox, the real kicker. Our brains are still wired just like Uzuk's, but our world couldn't be more different. We've traded the fight against saber-toothed tigers for a fight against our smartphones, our delivery apps, and our own procrastination. The biggest threat to our success isn't out there anymore. It's right between our ears. So how in the world do we win this internal battle? It's not about having more willpower than everyone else. Nope. The key is a fundamental shift in your mindset, and it starts with how you look at every single choice you make. Just think about your day so far. Did you hit snooze or get up? Grab the donut or the apple? Every one of those tiny decisions is like casting a vote. It's a vote for the person you are right now and for the person you're gonna be tomorrow. One vote might not seem like a big deal, but thousands of them over time, that's what creates a landslide. That's what defines who you become. I found this next part absolutely fascinating. The book talks about research that shows this incredibly powerful link between self-discipline and empathy, but not for other people, empathy for your future self. Turns out when we can vividly imagine the person we'll be in 10 years, we are way more likely to make choices today that they'd actually thank us for. So here's a little exercise. Try this today. Before you make a choice, just pause and ask yourself, what would my future self want me to do right now? All of a sudden, skipping that dessert doesn't feel like a punishment anymore. It feels like a gift you're sending to the person you're working so hard to become. All right, so now that we've got the why, that whole mindset piece, let's get down to the how. This is all about building practical systems that make being disciplined the default option, not the hard one. Here's a crucial point from the book. Stop trying to rely on willpower. It's a finite resource. Don't get into an epic battle with a bag of chips every single night. Instead, design your environment so the battle never even starts. I mean, if the junk food isn't in your house, you can't eat it, right? Make the good choices the easiest choices. And this just proves why consistency is so much more powerful than intensity. Check out this stat, 400%. A study in the book showed that musicians who were committed for the long haul outperformed the others by 400%, even with less practice time. It wasn't about heroic 8-hour practice sessions. It was about who just showed up day after day. A small, consistent effort will always, always beat a huge effort that just fizzles out. So how do you actually maintain that kind of consistency? Well, the book suggests you treat it like a professional would. A pro doesn't wait to feel inspired. They have a routine. They're reliable. They keep the promises they make, especially to themselves. And they're always looking for ways to get better. This simple shift turns discipline from a chore into a personal standard of excellence. Okay, let's take a breath. We've talked about our caveman brains, mindset shifts, designing our environment. That is a lot to take in. So where in the world do you even begin without getting totally overwhelmed? This idea from day 235 is a total game changer. The idea of transforming your entire life, it's terrifying, right? But the idea of just winning one day, that feels doable. It shrinks this massive, overwhelming mountain of a goal into a single, concrete task. Just do what you need to do today. So what's your first step? The secret is to make it ridiculously small. I mean, so small that it feels kind of silly not to do it. A 5-minute walk, writing one paragraph, drinking one less soda. You're not trying to change your life on day one. You're just trying to build a tiny little bit of momentum. Forget about next week or next month or next year. Your only mission is to win today. That's it. Focus all your energy on that single task. Win today. and then wake up tomorrow and do it all over again. Because a lifetime of discipline, it isn't built in a year. It's built one day at a time, this day. So what are you going to do to win it?
I have a question that's been nagging me. It's a bit of a paradox, actually.
Right.
We spend our entire lives trying to make things easier, right? We invent dishwashers, remote controls, food delivery apps, all to avoid effort.
Mm-hmm.
But why is it that living life the easy way, giving in to every impulse, sleeping in, eating whatever's convenient, why does that actually make life so much harder in the long run?
It is the ultimate trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
We are biologically wired to seek the path of least resistance. Our brains they love comfort.
Right.
But that path almost always leads to a destination we really, really don't want to visit.
It's like a credit card with a terrible interest rate. You enjoy the purchase now, but the bill that comes due later is massive.
That's a perfect analogy.
And that's the central theme we're wrestling with today. We're doing a deep dive into 365 Days with Self-Discipline by Martin Meadows.
Right.
And Meadows hasn't just written a book. He's essentially curated a greatest hits album of human resilience. We're talking ancient Stoics, modern entrepreneurs, neuroscientists, all focused on one thing.
Self-control.
Exactly.
What stands out to me about this source material is how it reframes the whole subject. I think when most people hear self-discipline, they recoil.
For sure.
They think of a drill sergeant screaming in their face, or they think of deprivation. No fun, no joy, just grinding.
Definitely. I think of it as a punishment, like, I was bad, so now I have to be disciplined.
And Meadows flips that script entirely. The mission of this book, and our deep dive today, is to help you see self-discipline not as punishment, but as the ultimate tool for freedom.
Freedom.
It's about self-mastery. It's about building a system so you aren't a slave to your own momentary whims.
I like that distinction. It's not restricting yourself, it's liberating yourself. And Meadows uses this great analogy right at the start. He treats self-discipline like a living thing.
He compares it to a plant. And I love this image.
Why that one?
Because it manages expectations. You don't just wake up one day with an oak tree of willpower. It's not a mushroom that springs up overnight.
Right.
It's a delicate thing. You have to water it, cultivate it, protect it from pests. And if you neglect it, it withers. It's a muscle that needs tension to grow.
So let's dig into the soil here. Segment 1, the biology of comfort versus the hard way. The book opens with a prologue that honestly made me grateful for my thermostat. It's the story of Unshakeable.
Ah, yes. Unshakeable. This narrative is crucial because it just strips away all our modern context.
So who is he?
Unshakeable is a prehistoric man. He wakes up in a hut made of twigs and mud. He is covered in insect bites. He is freezing. His tribe hasn't eaten properly in 5 days.
It sounds absolutely miserable.
It does to us. But for Unshakeable, discomfort wasn't a lifestyle choice or a challenge. It was the baseline of reality.
There's no other option.
None. If he wanted to eat, he couldn't just open an app. He had to grab a spear and walk out into a world that was actively trying to kill him. There was no snooze button on survival.
So if Unshakeable decided to take a, mental health day and stay in bed, he died, or his family starved.
Precisely. Meadows' point is that our ancestors had to be disciplined just to exist. Their environment forced it on them. But fast forward to today.
We have supermarkets, temperature-controlled homes, Netflix, Uber Eats.
We have engineered a world where we can live our entire lives without exercising even a tiny bit of grit if we don't want to.
We've built a world that caters to our inner toddler. And while that feels great in the moment, the argument here is that this softness is actually dangerous.
It's dangerous because it atrophies our mental toughness.
Yeah.
When you remove the struggle, you remove the strength. And this leads us to that core paradox we started with. There's a quote in the book by Dave Kekich that sums it all up. Life's easy when you live it the hard way, and hard if you try to live it the easy way.
That is such a sticky phrase. But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Is it really that simple? Life is easy when you live it the hard way. What does that actually look like?
Think about the compounding interest of choices.
Yeah.
If you choose the hard way, now waking up early to work out, cooking a healthy meal instead of ordering pizza.
Saving that extra $100 instead of buying new shoes.
Exactly. Those are difficult, friction-filled choices in the moment. But what do they get you in the long run?
Better health, financial security, energy, a better life.
Right. They immunize you against the catastrophic problems later. You don't have to deal with the hard life of chronic disease or crushing debt or the regret of wasted potential.
Whereas if you take the easy way now, the path of least resistance, you end up with a life that is objectively much harder to manage.
You're playing life on hard mode because you refuse to do the tutorial.
That's a great way to put it. This reminds me of another concept in the book from H.A. Dorfman about freedom, because again, discipline usually sounds like prison.
But Dorfman argues that self-discipline is the only path.
That hits home. We think we're making choices, but we're really just reacting.
Correct. Discipline is the ability to cut those strings and say, no, I choose what I do next.
Okay, that sounds heroic and all. But I know there's a listener out there, and honestly, I'm with them thinking, that's great, but I'm just tired. I don't have that Navy SEAL gene. I have the sit on the couch gene.
You and me both sometimes. And that brings us to our second segment, systems over willpower. This is where we debunk the myth of the superhuman.
Please tell me there's good news here, because I definitely look at some people, elite athletes, CEOs, and think they are just built different.
Meadows is adamant about this. There are no superhumans. Even the people we look up to, Steve Jobs, Rita Williams, whoever, they struggle. They have days they want to quit.
So what's the difference?
The difference isn't that they have an infinite tank of willpower. It's that they have better strategies to manage their limited supply.
It's not magic, it's engineering.
Exactly. And one of the best pieces of engineering comes from Tim Ferriss, who is quoted in the book. He says, I value self-discipline, but creating systems that make it next to impossible to misbehave is more reliable than self-control.
Impossible to misbehave. So don't try to be a saint. Just rig the game.
100%. If you are trying to focus and your phone is sitting right next to you, face up, buzzing with notifications, you are in the lion's den.
You're picking a fight.
You are fighting the smartest engineers in the world who designed that phone to steal your attention. You will lose that fight eventually.
So the system isn't, I will try harder to ignore it. The system is, I will put the phone in the other room.
Yes, you eliminate the option. Willpower is a battery. Don't waste 20% of your battery just trying to ignore a distraction. Remove it.
There's another tactical tool in this section that I really love for procrastination, the 0-second rule.
This one is a game changer for anyone who overthinks. It's based on a Leonardo da Vinci quote. It is easier to resist at the beginning than at the end.
Meaning the resistance is strongest right before you start.
Think about the moment you know you need to go for a run. You're sitting on the couch. What happens in your head?
Oh, the lawyer comes out. It's a little cold outside. My knee feels funny. Maybe I'll go tomorrow when I'm more rested.
That internal lawyer is the enemy. The longer you sit there, the stronger his case gets. The 0-second rule is the gavel. The moment the thought, I need to run, enters your brain, you move.
Zero debate.
0 seconds of debate. You stand up, you put on the shoes, you kill the hesitation before it kills your momentum.
You don't give the lawyer time to approach the bench.
You shut down the courtroom entirely.
I love that. Okay, moving on to segment 3. This is where things get a little sci-fi. We need to talk about the future self. Meadows dives into the psychology of identity, and there was a study mentioned by Hallie Hirschfield involving virtual reality that just, it blew my mind.
This is a fascinating study. They took participants and put them in a VR environment where they looked into a digital mirror. But the reflection wasn't their current face.
It was an aged digital avatar of themselves. So they're staring at themselves at 70 years old. Wrinkles, gray hair, the whole thing.
Right. And then, after spending time with this future self, they asked the participants to allocate money. And what they found is that the people who interacted with their aged avatars were way more likely to save for retirement.
Why? Is this fear of being old and broke?
It's deeper than fear, it's empathy. So usually we treat our future self like a stranger. We think, I'll eat this cake now and that other guy, future me, can deal with the diabetes. We dissociate.
But the VR closed the gap. It made future me a real person scanning right there.
Exactly. Discipline requires empathy for your future self. You have to realize that you are not just making a choice for now, you are doing something to him or her.
So the question becomes, will the me in 10 years thank me for this choice or resent me?
That is a powerful reframe.
Yeah.
And speaking of reframing, the book also talks about the specific words we use, the difference between I can't and I don't.
Right, the identity shift.
Let's say you're trying to quit sugar. You're at a birthday party, someone offers you a slice of cake. If you say, I can't eat that, what are you implying?
I'm implying that I want to eat it, but I'm not allowed. I'm depriving myself. It's a struggle.
Correct. It implies you are a victim of your own rules. But if you say, I don't eat sugar.
You are stating a fact about your identity. Like a vegetarian, they don't walk past a steakhouse and weep because they can't have a steak. They just don't eat meat. It's who they are.
Frank McKinney has a great quote about this in the book. He says, you shouldn't define yourself as an ex-smoker or trying to quit. You have to change your identity to someone who simply does not do those things.
When the identity shifts, the willpower becomes unnecessary.
You don't need willpower to be who you already are.
But there is a trap here, right? A psychological trap called moral licensing. This is something I am definitely guilty of.
Oh, most of us are. It's the, I was good, so now I can be bad trap.
I went to the gym for 45 minutes, so I deserve this extra large pizza.
That is moral licensing in a nutshell. And it's not just a bad habit. It's a biological drive. Your brain is always seeking balance. When you expend effort, your brain screams for a reward to get back to baseline.
So it's not just me being weak, it's my brain trying to neutralize the discomfort.
Yes, but it cancels out your progress. You view the good behavior as a token you can cash in for the bad behavior. You had to decouple them.
Okay, so we've got the mindset. Connect with the future, change the identity, watch out for the dopamine trap. Now I want to get to the tactical toolkit. Let's start with physical resilience.
Right. If you want to build grit, you have to start with the body. And the tool Meadows suggests is, well, it's polarized. Cold shower therapy.
The Joel Runyon challenge. Look, I'll be honest. I hate cold water. Why on earth would I do this voluntarily? It sounds like torture.
It is torture, in a way. That's the entire point. It's not about getting clean. It is a gym session for your willpower.
Explain the mechanism. What happens when I turn that knob to cold?
You are standing there vulnerable. You turn the knob. Your brain, your ancient Uzook brain screams no. It induces a flinch response. It triggers panic.
So how does that help me answer my emails?
Because you override it. You feel the panic, you feel the desire to run, and you step in anyway. You are training your brain to dissociate discomfort from stopping.
So if you can handle 3 minutes of freezing water...
An awkward conversation feels like nothing. You raise your pain threshold.
Okay, so that handles the physical side. But what about the work itself?
That brings us to mental focus and Parkinson's law.
Work expands to fill the time available.
We've all felt this. If you give yourself a week to write a report, it will take a week. You'll procrastinate, you'll tweak the font size for hours.
But if the boss says, I need this in 2 hours, suddenly you're a machine.
Exactly. The tactic here is to create artificial crises. Don't give yourself all day. Give yourself 50 minutes. Force your brain into a bottleneck. The pressure eliminates the option to procrastinate.
But we can't spread forever, right? If we just do cold showers and tight deadlines, we'll burn out.
Which is why we need sustainability. And the book uses the concept of the controlled burn.
This is a forestry term, right?
It is. In nature, if you suppress every single small fire in a forest, dead wood and brush build up. Then when a fire finally does catch, it's a super fire. It burns everything down.
So how does that apply to my diet?
Think of your willpower like a pressure cooker. If you try to be 100% disciplined 24/7, the pressure builds. Eventually the lid blows off. You don't just eat one cookie, you binge for a week.
That's the super fire.
Right. So a controlled burn is a scheduled release, a cheat meal, a planned lazy Sunday. You release the steam intentionally so it doesn't blow up the whole kitchen. It makes the discipline sustainable.
It's not a failure, it's maintenance. I like that. One last tool. Voluntary discomfort.
This is very stoic. Seneca practiced this. He would spend days living in poverty, wearing rough clothes, eating stale bread.
Just to prove he could.
To remove the fear. We are so terrified of losing our comfort. But if you practice it, if you sleep on the floor for a night, you realize, hey, this isn't fun, but I'm still alive. I'm okay.
It inoculates you.
Okay, but even with all these tools, we are going to screw up. We are human. Segment 5, handling failure and quitting.
And there is a huge difference between those two things. The book actually argues there is an art of quitting. Seth Godin has a brilliant take on this.
He says most people quit at the wrong time.
Most people quit when it's hard. They quit when they are panicked, Godin says. Never quit in the moment of pain.
So when should you quit?
You decide your quitting conditions before you start. You say, I will try this strategy for 6 months. If I haven't made a profit by then, I will pivot. If you hit 6 months and no profit, you quit. That's logic.
Not emotion.
You don't quit at month 2 just because you had a bad week and feel sad. That prevents the emotional bailout. But what about the small failures? The I skipped the gym today moments.
Marcus Aurelius would say, it is not the event that hurts you, but your judgment of it. A slip-up is just data.
Don't judge it, just analyze it.
Right. If you trip while running, do you lay on the ground and scream, I am a failure of a runner? No. You get up and keep running. Successful people see problems as hurdles, things to jump over,
Not barriers.
not walls that stop you.
The book ends this section with a metaphor from Abraham Lincoln about an egg. We shall sooner have the fowl by hatching the egg than by smashing it.
It's a lesson in patience. In our culture, if we don't see results in a week, we want to smash the egg and try something else. We switch diets, we switch business plans.
But if you keep smashing the egg, you never get the chicken.
You have to sit on the egg. You have to let the process work.
Yeah.
Boredom is often a sign that you're doing the right thing. Consistency beats intensity every time.
That is so tough to hear, but so necessary. So let's bring this all home.
Let's do it.
We've covered the biology, the systems, the identity shift, and the toolkit. The big takeaway for me is that discipline isn't a trait you're born with, it's an environment you build.
It's about creating a world where the easy choice is the right choice.
We talked about empathy for your future self, making sure you aren't stealing from the you of 2035 just to have a good time tonight.
And we gave you the weapons. Cold showers to build the flinch muscle, Parkinson's law to force focus, controlled burns to prevent burnout.
And voluntary discomfort to conquer fear. But I want to end on the why, because all the hacks in the world don't matter if you don't know where you're going. The book mentions Stephen Covey's concept of the burning yes.
This is the fuel. You can only say no to the powerful temptations in your life, the laziness, the junk food, the procrastination, if you have a bigger yes burning inside you.
Discipline requires a purpose. You aren't just saying no to the cookie, you're saying yes to being able to run around with your grandkids.
Exactly. If you don't have that burning yes, discipline feels like deprivation. It feels hollow. If you do have it, discipline feels like a strategic trade-off.
You are trading something cheap for something valuable. And to leave you with one final image to mull over, the book brings up the story of Noah building the ark. And I don't want to get religious here, but just think about the image.
Imagine Noah. He's out there for years building this massive boat in the middle of dry land. The sun is shining. There isn't a cloud in the sky.
He must have looked absolutely insane to his neighbors. They're probably laughing at him, enjoying their free time while he works.
Everybody else is having fun, relaxing, living the easy life.
Yeah.
Noah is sweating, working, missing out. He is building his discipline. He's building his system.
And then the rain starts.
And suddenly, the discipline doesn't look like missing out anymore. It looks like survival. It looks like genius.
And that's the thing. The rain is always coming. Maybe it's a recession. Maybe it's a health scare. Maybe it's just a crisis at work. The ark isn't just a boat. It's your emergency fund. It's your physical health.
What's your mental resilience?
Yeah.
It's the boring, invisible work that saves you when the storm hits.
So that's the question for you to take with you today. Are you just enjoying the
All right,
sun
let's dive
like
right in.
everyone else?
In the next
or
5
are you
minutes, we're
building
going to
your
unpack
ark?
the
Build
core
your ark.
principles
Thanks
from
for
Dirk
listening to this
Zeller's
deep dive.
Success
We'll
Habits
catch
for
you on the
Dummies.
next one.
We're
Stay
breaking it down
disciplined.
into a simple, actionable blueprint you can actually use. You ready? Let's do this. I mean, you know that feeling, right? That sense that you're just stuck. You know you're capable of more, but you're just not quite getting there. The book points out that, look, we all fall short somewhere, but what if the path forward was a lot clearer than you think? And this right here, this is the whole idea in a nutshell. Success isn't something you get lucky and find. It's not something you just stumble upon. It's a structure. It's something you have to deliberately, methodically build, piece by piece, day after day.
So, where do we even begin? Well, you start with the foundation. The core argument of the book is that success isn't some destination you just arrive at. It's actually a habit, something you can learn and repeat until it's just second nature. You see, this one idea reframes everything. It's not about some single massive heroic effort. Having one great morning is just an act. Real, lasting achievement, that comes from linking those acts together day after day until they become an automatic part of who you are. So if success is a building, you can't just start without a blueprint, right? So the very first step is to get brutally honest and define what it is you're actually trying to build. You have to chart your own course. And that leads to this absolutely critical question. We see a million different versions of success out there in the world, but the book is super clear on this. The only definition that matters is yours. Without a clear target, you're really just aiming in the dark. To help organize your thoughts, the book suggests breaking life into these key areas: your health, your finances, your relationships, and your career. Defining what success really looks like in each of these categories, that's the real first step to actually achieving it. Now, once you have that target,
There's a simple action you can take that is, well, it's almost ridiculously powerful. It sounds too basic to be true, but the data behind it is pretty startling.
3%. That's it. That's the estimated number of people who actually take the time to physically write down their goals. Just 3%. It's such a tiny fraction of the population.
And here's the kicker. The research Zeller talks about shows that this tiny 3% group, they disproportionately end up with the most money, influence, and freedom. The simple act of writing it down creates commitment and gives your brain a clear path to follow. Okay, so you have a blueprint, but we all know what happens next. Procrastination. That little voice that says, yeah, I'll do it later. So how do you fuel the engine and get moving, especially when the goal feels absolutely massive? Well, the book offers a really clever mental trick for this. It's a way to get started on even the most intimidating tasks and start building some real momentum. It's called the salami approach. Think about it. You don't need a whole salami at once, right? You slice it. Same idea. First, you plan out the entire project and put all the steps in a logical order. Then you just slice it up into small, daily or weekly tasks. Write the book becomes write 10 pages today. See, the point is, you're not trying to conquer the whole mountain. You're just taking the next step. And that whole idea of focusing on the immediate next step, that leads us to the daily operating system for success. This is how you translate those big long-term goals into concrete daily action. I love this concept. Forget about winning the month or the year. It's too big, too abstract. Just focus on one single thing, winning today. If you can win today and then do it again tomorrow, the weeks, months, and years, they just take care of themselves. So how do you do it? First, you create a success routine. Decide ahead of time what a win looks like for you. Second, you execute that routine consistently until it becomes a habit. And third, and this is so important, give yourself some grace. If you fall off track, you just start again the next morning. Tomorrow is always day one. So let's bring it all together. We've talked about the foundation, the blueprint, the engine, and the system. Now, let's talk about the single most powerful tool you can use to put it all into practice. It's called time blocking. Instead of working from some chaotic to-do list, you give every minute of your day a specific job. You schedule your most important tasks right into your calendar, like there are appointments you absolutely cannot miss. This turns you from someone who reacts to their day into someone who commands it. So I'll leave you with this final practical question. Looking at your goals, what is the one salami slice, that one action that you can block out time for tomorrow to win the day? Go schedule it, and you've already taken your first real step on the path.
You know, Aristotle once said something that I think really sets the stage for everything we're going to talk about today.
Oh, I think I know the one you mean.
Yeah, he said, excellence is not an act, but a habit. And if you really stop and think about that, it's actually kind of a relief, right?
It is. It really is. It takes the magic out of it. It implies that success isn't some lightning bolt that strikes the lucky few.
Or some genetic lottery you had to win.
Exactly. It's a recipe. It's a series of ingredients you mix in the right order.
Right. And to help us find that recipe, we are doing a deep dive today into a book that might trigger a knee-jerk reaction for some people. It's Success Habits for Dummies by Dirk Zeller. Now I know what you're thinking. For dummies, really? Is this going to be like tie your shoes?
You're going to look exactly like the last five unless he changed something fundamental. You're going to look exactly like the last five unless he changed something fundamental.
At the root level?
At the root. So he decided to literally study success the way you'd study, I don't know, engineering or medicine.
Which I love. He moved from just wishing for success to deciding on success, and that distinction is just huge.
It's everything.
We're going to cover a lot today. Everything from why your morning routine is probably the bottleneck in your life to why, and I love this, secret cows make the best hamburgers.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get to that one. And also why asking for the wrong thing might get you a box of iced teaspoons for Christmas.
That is a very specific and painful lesson he learned.
But let's start at the foundation. How does Zeller actually define success? Because we live in this world of Instagram filters and, rented Lamborghinis. It feels like the definition keeps moving. Is that what we're supposed to be chasing?
Well, Zeller is very careful to dismantle that image right away. He basically argues that the biggest trap people fall into is just adopting society's definition of success.
Neighbor's Porsche.
The neighbor's Porsche, the corner office,
Yeah.
the cosmetic perfection. If you're chasing someone else's definition, you're running a race. You just can't win.
So it has to be personal.
It's deeply personal.
Yeah.
Zeller leans on a definition from Earl Nightingale, who was kind of the dean of personal motivation.
Oh, yeah.
Nightingale said, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal."
Progressive realization. Let's pause on that. So if I'm just moving toward the goal, I'm already successful,
Exactly.
even if I haven't hit the finish line yet.
Precisely. That is the mindset shift.
Okay.
You don't have to be at the finish line. You just have to be in motion toward a worthy ideal.
Wow.
If you are taking steps, you are successful now. And he breaks this down into categories too: health, financial, relationships, and career.
Which is so important because I think we often sacrifice one for the other.
We do.
Uh,
You might be crushing it in your career, making millions, but if your health is failing or your relationships are totally hollow,
You're not successful. Not by his standard.
right, it's a holistic game. You can't just be rich and lonely with high blood pressure and call
Yeah.
that a win.
That makes a lot of sense. But here's where it gets really interesting for me and maybe a little frustrating for people who want like a quick fix. Zeller talks about the difference between the how and the why. And I feel like we're all obsessed with the how. Just give me the hack, give me the shortcut.
And that's the problem. Zeller's whole argument is that the how is actually the easy part. The information is out there.
Sure.
If you want to lose weight, the how is eat less, move more. If you want to save money, spend less than you earn. We know this stuff. The real power source is the why.
The motivation.
Right. If your why is big enough, the how becomes manageable. And he points out that this fuel can come from two very different places.
Okay.
It can be a positive vision of the future, like who you want to become, or can come from a negative experience, like growing up in poverty and just deciding never again.
And both are valid fuel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the crucial insight here is about identity. Success isn't about what you get, it's about who you become.
Mm.
You have to change internally to attract the success you want externally. You can't be the same person with the same habits and expect a different tax bracket or a better marriage.
That sounds great in theory, but it is so hard in practice. How do we actually operationalize that identity shift? Zeller talks about this concept of winning the day.
Right.
It sounds a bit like a sports chant.
It is, actually. He borrowed it from the Oregon Ducks football program.
Hmm.
The philosophy is simple, but it's profound.
Which is?
You can't control tomorrow. You can't redo yesterday.
Huh.
You only control today. So if you stack enough wins day after day, a successful life is, well, it's pretty much inevitable.
And that win, it starts in the morning. Now, I have to play devil's advocate here. I feel like every single self-help book says, wake up at 4 a.m., take an ice bath.
Right. And meditate for an hour.
Yeah. Does Zeller back this up, or is it just the standard advice?
He does back it up with data, unfortunately, for the night owls among us.
Uh-oh.
He notes that 90% of executives wake up before 6:00 a.m. And get this, 50% of self-made millionaires are up at least 3 hours before their workday actually starts.
3 hours. Okay, that sounds painful. If I'm waking up 3 hours early, I'm just going to be tired and grumpy. What are they actually doing in that time?
They're building a routine. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, it's all about control.
Okay.
If you wake up and the first thing you do is check your email or the news, you are reacting to the world. You start your day on defense.
Right, you're putting out fires.
Exactly. But if you wake up and follow a routine, you're proactive. You're playing offense. And Zeller lists 5 key ingredients for this morning routine.
Let's run through them. And let's be real, can a normal person with kids and a commute actually do all of these every day?
Well, you can scale it. It doesn't have to be hours long,
Mm-hmm.
but the ingredients matter. So first is gratitude.
Gratitude.
He describes it as emptying the cup.
Yeah.
You have to empty your mind of stress and entitlement so it can be filled with blessings. It just shifts your baseline to positive.
Okay, I can do that while I'm making coffee. What's next?
Second is quiet time or prayer, just centering yourself. Third is reading, learning while your brain is fresh. Fourth is journaling to capture those insights.
Mm-hmm.
And fifth is exercise to raise your energy levels.
It sounds like a lot, but even if you just did, say, 10 minutes of reading and 5 minutes of journaling, I can see how that would change your whole headspace for the day.
Exactly. And here's the key distinction Zeller makes. He talks about consistency versus repetition.
Wait, aren't those the same thing?
Not quite. A routine you do once is just an act. Repetition is what turns that consistency into an actual habit. Zeller himself gets up at 5 a.m. He says if you miss a day, you break the cycle. You have to protect that routine because that routine, in the end, protects you.
It's about building that groove in your brain so the right thing becomes automatic.
That's it.
Okay, so we're up early, we're grateful, we've exercised, but we can't figure everything out on our own. This brings us to one of my favorite parts of the source material. Success leaves clues.
This is the core of the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle.
Right.
Wilfredo Pareto observed that, 20% of the people get the vast majority of the wealth and influence. So if you want to be in that 20%, you don't look at what the 80% are doing.
The trivial many.
Exactly. You observe the vital few.
You have to watch what they do, but you also have to ask for help. And this is where the iced teaspoon story comes in. I laughed out loud at this one, but it's also kind of tragic.
It's a hilarious story, but the lesson is just stinging.
So set the scene for us.
Okay, so Zeller is young, newly married, and Christmas is coming up. His parents ask him and his wife, "What do you two want for Christmas?"
A simple question.
Now, his wife is starting a construction business. She is very focused. She knows exactly what she needs.
Right, she's not playing around.
No, she gives them a specific list. High quality tools, heavy duty drills, hammers, saws. She asks for the resources she needs to build her career.
And Zeller
Tries to be the easygoing guy. He doesn't want to be a burden. He's thinking, oh, they know me, they'll figure it out. Or he just, forgets to say anything specific.
He leaves it up to the universe.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So Christmas morning arrives.
Yeah.
The family's all gathered around the tree. His wife opens her gift, and it's this incredible professional grade toolbox. Exactly what she needed. She's thrilled.
Because she asked for success tools.
Yeah.
And then Zeller gets his box.
He gets a small rectangular box. He shakes it. He opens it up. It's a set of long-handled iced teaspoons.
No, iced teaspoons, like the ones you use to stir sugar at a diner?
Exactly those. And the kicker, he doesn't even drink iced tea.
That is brutal. But he can't really get mad, can he? He didn't ask for anything.
Precisely. The lesson is, ask and you shall receive. But the flip side is, if you don't ask clearly for a gift, a promotion, mentorship, you get the iced teaspoons of life.
You get what's left over. You get the clutter.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a powerful metaphor. We walk around frustrated that we're not getting what we want, but we've never actually clearly articulated it.
It's all about clarity. A potential mentor can't help you if you don't say what you need. And speaking of mentors, Zeller offers a really nuanced warning here.
The flawed mentor.
Yeah, we often look for a hero to mentor us, but he warns against that.
Tell us about the guy he modeled himself after. This feels like a real don't meet your heroes moment.
It really is.
Yeah.
So young Zeller wants wealth. That's his main driver. He finds a mentor who has all the luxury cars, the mansions, the status.
This whole package.
And Zeller copies his business strategies down to the letter. But then he starts to get a look at the man's personal life.
And the cracks start to show.
Huge cracks. The guy's been through 4 divorces. He's estranged from his children. They won't even talk to him. He has money, but his life is, frankly, a disaster.
He's miserable.
Completely.
This is a heavy realization. You're climbing the ladder, but the ladder is on fire.
It is. Zeller realized he was modeling a broken system, and it raises a super important question. Can one person really be your everything mentor?
And his answer is no.
His answer is no. You might need a mentor for wealth, a different one for health, another for relationships. Otherwise, you risk robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Sacrificing your family to get rich.
For example. Yeah. It's such practical advice. We tend to put successful people on a pedestal and assume they have it all figured out.
Right. Don't just look at their bank account.
Look at their dinner table. Are they happy? Do they have real friends? Success leaves clues, but so does failure. You have to read both sets.
Let's pivot to the engine that drives all of this. We've got the definition, the morning routine, the mentors, but none of it works without the D word.
Discipline.
The magic habit. Now, I have to be honest, when I hear discipline, I don't get excited. I think of a principal's office.
The timeout. Yeah.
I think of getting grounded. It feels like punishment. Like I'm not allowed to have fun.
And that's how most people see it. As a restriction of freedom. A cage. Zeller just flips this completely on its head. He reframes discipline as a reward.
A reward.
A reward. A tool for leverage. It's the ability to give up what you want now for what you want most.
Giving up what you want now for what you want most. That's a great line. It changes the equation from suffering to investing.
Exactly. He felt this was so important that when he made a list of tools of success for his son, Wesley, he realized if he could only pass on one skill, it would have to be discipline.
Because it's the foundation for everything else.
It is. Without discipline, you can't save money. Without it, you can't maintain your health. It's a prerequisite for every other habit. It is the bedrock.
But discipline can feel so overwhelming. Do I have to be disciplined about everything every second of the day? Like color code my socks and time my showers?
Right. Zeller has this concept called the half-dozen strategy that makes it feel way more doable.
I love this strategy because it just simplifies everything. You don't need to do 1,000 things right.
Thank goodness.
You just need to identify a half dozen, maybe 5 or 6 things that give you the highest return, and then do those with absolute consistency.
Give us some examples from the text. What does a half dozen actually look like?
It's surprisingly simple stuff. Things like arriving 30 minutes early to work to prep your day,
Okay.
reading for 30 minutes a day to keep learning, asking your boss, how can I help? Once a week.
That's it.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a recipe for becoming a millionaire.
But it's not about the intensity of the action. It's about the consistency. If you do those 6 things religiously every single day, while everyone else is erratic,
Late one day,
Yeah, late
early
one
the
day.
next, never reading. You separate yourself from the pack. It's the compound interest of habits.
so it's the cumulative effect over time.
Precisely. And this mindset is what saves you when things go wrong. He shares this powerful story about the 2008 financial crash.
Oh, yeah.
He was in real estate and training 2 industries that got absolutely hammered.
I remember that time. Just total panic mode for everyone. People were losing everything.
And while others were panicking, Zeller used his discipline to cut costs and pivot. And he has this phrase that I think is just brilliant. He says, "Sacred cows make the best hamburgers."
I love that image. It's a little violent, but it really sticks. What does he mean by that?
In business and in life, we all have these sacred cows, traditions, habits, expenses we think we can't touch.
Oh, we've always done it this way.
Exactly that. Or I have to have that fancy office, or I can't give up my expensive cable package. Zeller says when adversity hits, those are the exact things you should slaughter and put on the grill.
So nothing is off limits when survival is on the line.
You have to be willing to eliminate what isn't working, even if it's a tradition. And that adaptability, fueled by discipline, it allowed him to not just survive 2008, but to find new opportunities in the chaos.
Because he wasn't weighing himself down with things that didn't matter.
Right.
Wow. Sacred cows make the best hamburgers. That is going on a t-shirt.
It's a great reminder not to be sentimental about habits that don't serve you.
So let's bring this all together. We've covered a lot of ground today. Success isn't an accident, it's a decision. It's supported by a win-the-day morning routine. It requires asking clearly for what you want, no iced teaspoons.
Definitely no iced teaspoons.
And it's all fueled by the discipline to do a half dozen things better than anyone else.
And I think it's important to remind the listener of Zeller's core message about urgency. Success is not in the wish business.
Right.
It's in the do it or else business. You have to treat your life with that level of commitment.
It's that shift from I'd like to be successful to I am going to be successful. I want to leave everyone with one final thought from the source material that really stuck with me. It's a quote from the actor Adrian Brody that Zeller uses. He said, "It takes 15 years to be an overnight success."
A sobering but also really empowering thought.
It really is. We see the result, but we don't see the 15 years of early mornings and discipline that went into it. So my question to you listening right now is this. If your overnight success is 15 years away, what small, seemingly insignificant habit are you starting today to make sure you actually arrive? Because the clock is ticking either way.
That's the question that matters.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next deep dive.